I was thinking of an alternate version of a story where, at lunchtime on the very first day, Kraus tells Genji, during the middle of lunch, when everyone's already gathered around the table, to go and get Battler, Jessica, Ava, Hideyoshi, and Rosa, and bring them to his study. And to also, when he goes gets them, tell them just to bring their plates with them. No, actually just leave their plates behind. Just tell them, hey, leave your plates there. You'll have plenty of time to finish your lunch when you get back. Leave your food there. Come see me immediately. It won't take too long. Probably 10 minutes at most. Then when they get there, he'd start off by saying, I'm going to have quite a bit to say. I'd prefer you to keep quiet until I'm finished. First, Battler. I understand you being angry at Rudolph for the way he is. But it still took offense to deciding to throw away the rest of the Ushiromias with it. That being said, it would have been better had you kept that decision. Yes, I know. Petty of me to say I'm offended by it when, one, you made your decision off of something I agree with you on, and two, I have been trying my hardest to be a fucking asshole to all of you, ever since any of my children were born. Just so they would do what you did, Battler. Yet it still pissed me off. Again, I'm not going to say I'm a saint, Battler. Heck, it may hurt you to know this, but your grandpa is a complete fucking asshole. Yes, I'm trying to go out of my way to be an asshole to all of you. But my natural disposition is I'm an asshole. I'm a terrible, awful person, and I have a temper. That being said, I'll also have you know this. I have been trying to get all of you to basically either disown this family and have nothing to do with the Ushiromiya name at all and completely forget we exist, including all of your parents. That being said, I've also been trying to have whatever kind of significant excuse I could to just disinherit you, such as you, Ava. I went out of my way to fucking cause an issue between you and your older brother, so that you would try everything you could to try to show him up and have a fucking issue. So that I'd have an excuse to disinherit you. And yet you backpedaled just enough so that I could no longer get away with just disinheriting you without it looking like I had some ulterior reason for it. I also had hoped that both my daughters would be able to get rid of the Ushiromiya name and escape what is coming tonight and tomorrow. Yet, when you were so determined with Hideyoshi and all that, again, I had no ability to say no to you on that without, well, tipping my hand, since I have considered everything I do to be a bit of a gamble, and this is a huge gamble that I've done. And should it pay off, our family and all of you, well, everyone will be happy, and everything will be fine. But the odds are stacked against us so much that I've been trying to save all of you from it. At which point Ava would break a silence like, what are you talking about? You know about the epitaph, the portrait of the witch, Beatrice. I got my gold from her. I built everything in Ushiromiya off of it. Yes, I took a lot of gambles, a lot of risky business ventures, using that gold as collateral. I paid off all those loans. But just like those greedy sharks at the bank wanted interest, no one gives anything to anyone for free. The contract I had with Beatrice says that when the time comes for her to take her gold back, she gets interest on it. At which point Rose is like, well, how much is the interest? The interest is everything that I've accumulated. She's already taken the headship. It's like, well, what do you... At which point Ava would probably like, what? And it's like, look at my hand. My ring. I don't have the ring anymore. She's already taken that. Again, I know what I'm about to say sounds ridiculous. But first, from a legal standpoint, the contract states that she gets the gold and everything, including all of you. Now, if I had been able to disinherit you, or you had simply disowned this family and left, you wouldn't be part of that interest anymore, and you'd probably be able to escape and be perfectly safe. Also, you notice that a couple years ago I put that portrait up. That's when the time came in which I was allowed to share that epitaph with everyone. That epitaph was shared with me back 30 plus years ago, when we first had that contract written up. If any of us solve that puzzle, which I have not been able to do, Beatrice has to forfeit her rights on everything. However, should we fail, she gets everything, including all of you and your lives. Everyone dies. Now, yes, you may not believe in magic or witches, and that's understandable. You may view me as simply eccentric with my interest in the occult and everything I've done. But you cannot deny that I've taken a lot of precaution with this room to make it a ward against magic. Even the doorknob is set with jade and scorpions. So, even if you don't believe in the magic, know that I have been paranoid enough to take these precautions. And the main reason why I've blocked myself in this room is because I am trying to avoid getting killed. That portrait, that epitaph. Midnight tonight, she is going to kill 6 people. No, she won't kill anyone before midnight, but once midnight comes, she will pick 6 people at her discretion to kill. After that, she won't kill any more people till noon of the next day. That gives everyone enough time to find the bodies and discuss what happened. Then she'll kill 2 people who seem to love each other the most out of everyone still alive. And then she'll only need 5 more sacrifices, which she can do at any time she sees fit. At which point Jessica's saying, what, you're just going to stay here and let yourself live while Ross dies? Like, no. The final twilight is the witch is revived and no one is left alive. Simply put, she wins in multiple ways. The first is once she gets that final kill, the shot through an ankle. Once she gets our last Achilles heel, so to speak, she wins. Everyone and all of her magic is revived, and not even this room would save me. She'll have enough power to kill everyone. And even if she lets people live, she has the power to do as she wishes. And, well, she is a bit of a fickle person, and she has become a very bad person. And Balor's like, what do you mean by become a bad person? Balor, like a lot of parents and schools tell kids don't do drugs. Like there's some drugs that'll fuck up your mind, even change the personality. Make people, damage the brain. The magic Beatrice uses damages her mind, her heart, and her soul. I want to save all of you. I want to save myself, and I want to save her. Think of her like a drug addict, and you're trying to put her through rehab. Yes, I made foolish decision, Battler, putting all of you in the danger that I have, but I still want to try to save everyone. That being said, as Kraus and Ava were growing up, I lost faith that it'd even be possible. I became more of an asshole to distance myself, knowing what was going to come. After all, why should I fucking care about any of you, knowing that you're all going to die? Ava's like, but you said in an appointed time. Yes, when the time has come for me to die of old age. Honestly, I should be dead already. At this point, Beatrice's magic is probably keeping me alive for the sake of having enough people here. And even if I had told all of you not to come, she would have used her magic to cause some contrivance to force you to come. The only option would have been for all of you to either hate me so much that you never would come here no matter what would be said to you. No matter, even if you were told I was on death's door wanting to see you one last time, or even if I was offering to give you the entire inheritance. But all those avenues are gone. Heck, I only invited a few of you in, because if I invited everyone in, there was too much of a chance that Beatrice herself could have snuck in, or used one of you as an accomplice. Regardless, and it's like, people are like, quiet, I understand, but be quiet. Beatrice, even if you don't believe that she has any magic at all, she was still able to provide me with gold. She still has enough determination to beat all of you in this game and to kill all of you. She is not alone. She has people that she's brought with her. In addition to that, it is very likely that she is going to recruit one of you as an accomplice, or she already has. One of those family members of yours down there, still at that lunch table, may have already been talking to Beatrice. Heck, I know, granted, she doesn't know any better. She's just a child. But I know Beatrice has been talking to Maria every single year. So even though Maria is a bit too young to understand what she would wind up doing, Beatrice would try to use Maria. And Maria, she's at that age, she's too naive and trusting. Besides, at this point, she's come to idolize witches. And I will say this, Beatrice, as she is right now, is a very cruel, evil person. I would not hesitate to cause each and every one of you, even myself, death and suffering. Now I'm going to be kicking all of you out, along with Genji and Nanjo here. Even you, Cannon, no, they'd still be downstairs. So I'm going to be kicking all of the 5 of you out here in a moment. Along with Genji and Nanjo here. That being said, once you leave this room, I'm going to lock it, and I'm not going to let anyone else in. Battler, here is my shotgun. Take it with you. Also, here is a sealed letter that I wrote years ago. Because I knew eventually you would wind up coming back. I wrote it about 4 years after you made your decision. When it came to Ruff, I knew that eventually you'd wind up coming back at the very end. I just knew. That's just the fate of the Ushiromias. This letter, you are not to open it till you are outside that door, and only you are to read it to yourself. Now, after you finish reading that letter, it is your decision what you do with that letter afterward. You are then free to share that letter with anyone else. You are free to tell everyone else what is written in that letter. but I insist that you do not open that letter until you have left my study and I have locked the door, and that initially you read it, the full letter. There's going to be a couple spots in the letter that might be a bit emotional, but I want you to read the whole thing quietly in your head to yourself. After that, it is then your choice what you do with that information and what you do with the letter. Genji, I'm going to have you take them out here in a moment. That being said, first, I'm sorry to all of you for being such an asshole. 2, even if I wasn't, you're all going to hate me very much very soon. 3, I want all of you to do better than your grandfather did. But other than that, you must know this. You must solve the riddle. You must do it as soon as possible. 6 people will die tonight at midnight. And after that, 2. And then you'll have 1 by 1 till you get 5 more. Then everyone else will be at her mercy. If you solve the riddle, everyone can be saved, even her and those she's brought with her. If you fail, all of us are doomed, even her. In fact, I would say the Beatrice she once was. In fact, even before, even the Beatrice I knew would have issue with who she is now. And even the Beatrice she was 1,000 years ago would have issue. But she doesn't have to get all the kills to win. If by midnight of tomorrow night, even if all of you manage to hunker down inside this study and no one is killed by Beatrice, if midnight comes of tomorrow night and no one has figured out the riddle, she wins, and everyone dies regardless. In addition to that, you won't be able to stop her, even if you did, because no matter what, her magic will overturn anything if you guys are, and even then, even if she or her accomplices can't do anything, she will try to recruit one of our family or one of our servants to her cause, promising them anything, even their own lives, because she would have the potential to grant great wealth and even survival to those who side with her, and everyone, as opposed to not just poverty, but certain death, and death in a painful, humiliating way. Anyway, Genji, take them now, and thank you for all your service. Nanjo, I entrust my family to you. You and Genji, take care of them. Anyway, then they close the door, and then Battler reads the letter. He cries a bit, as we've seen Battler do quite frequently. And then he sits there for a moment, contemplating. Then he hands the letter to Jessica, who then reads it and starts screaming in anger, and then starts puking and having an asthma attack. She drops the paper on the floor, and as she's down there on the ground puking, and Rose is patting her back, trying to help her, Hideyoshi bends down, picks up the letter, and reads it. Ava looks at him, asks him what it says. He looks down at the paper, and he tears it to shreds. And Ava's like, what are you doing? No one can ever know this. He's like, come on. Like, no. If I do tell anyone, it'll be after we tell everyone else all of the other stuff we just learned in that room. And even then, it's something I'll hold as my decision. At which point Jessica stands up, starts yelling, I'll kill you, you bastard. Starts banging on the door to the study. And then falls over, and then it's like Battler helps her get her an inhaler as Genji hands it to him. Nanjo and all of them are crowded around him. It's like, and Hideyoshi, it's like, it can't be helped. Let's go downstairs once Jessica's feeling better. And Rosa then asks, why did you give the letter to Jessica? Because she was the least likely to kill him or react in anger. But she's like, what about Hideyoshi? He's not... And Ava's like, no, he's actually really angry. And Battler looks at her and says, Aunt Rosa, the only reason Hideyoshi's staying as composed he is for Jessica's sake, because of her health. And because he's mature, and he knows that him howling and screaming right now wouldn't accomplish anything. Hideyoshi closes his eyes, goes, and nods his head. And then he opens his eyes and says, Ava, if I showed this letter to Rudolph or to Kraus, they'd be foaming at the mouth. They'd claw this door down themselves. If Battler had read that while he's still in there, he would have shot. Actually, any of us would have shot him on the spot. I'm not sure it helps our current situation, given what he already told us in there to be about this, but definitely if we survive all of this, I'll tell you and Rosa. I might tell everyone before that, depending on how things are going with explaining all of that. Now, as for the viewers or listeners of this video, what would be written in the letter is Kinzo writing that, Dear Battler, around 30 years ago, Beatrice died. She was my mistress. My wife eventually found her, and she shot Beatrice with the very shotgun you were holding, with every round and every shell in the gun. There wasn't much of a body left after that. I flew into a rage in this situation. I took the empty gun and I beat my wife to death until there wasn't anything left. Both bodies are buried underneath the chapel. The end. I don't know. I imagine there might be other stuff written there too, but I don't know if this really counts as a part. It's me just saying, hey, what if this scenario occurred? I don't know. Yeah. So, I guess we're not actually reading any of the story today. It's just me saying a what-if scenario when it comes to Kinzo and stuff. Feel free to comment on what you think about, I don't know, this, and what you think would happen. Okay. Alright, I never did my intro. Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar T8, and yeah, guess we're not really reading much of a story right now. Anyway, later. Bye.